Tonight, an eye-opening News Channel 5 investigation shows you the sinister ways that extremists are targeting your children online.
Last night, our Phil Williams revealed how the Antioch High School shooter was sucked into that world.
That's right. And tonight, Phil is back with us to walk us through the process so parents know what they need to watch for. This is important.
Yeah, and it's a disturbing process. As we mentioned last night, it is sometimes adults with neo-Nazi or other extremist ties trying to manipulate our children. And in Solomon Henderson's case, it also appears there were other kids trying to pull his strings. Regardless, experts say the process often follows a predictable pattern.
The most common way that I usually see kids exposed to nihilistic violent extremists is with a start point on Roblox.
It begins in the world of online games.
They're playing a game on Roblox. They're approached potentially to then carry their chat into a different space.
But what began as fun can quickly take a dark turn, where children are manipulated into hurting others, perhaps even hurting themselves.
Sometimes that timeline is actually really short. We recently reviewed a case, for example, where it appeared that a young woman was brought into a Discord space and less than 24 hours later was already hurting herself because of the pressure of that.
24 hours?
Yes.
Dr. Amy Cooter studies the world of nihilistic violent extremism, a world where sick people, some of them neo-Nazis, others who just want to bring about a collapse of society, target our nation's children. Among the groups involved in this, one known as 764, another the Order of Nine Angles, or O9A.
It's becoming a major issue, not only across the country, but here in Middle Tennessee.
Captain Chris Dickerson heads the Metro Police Department's division that investigates extremists.
But we're seeing a lot of kids, whether it be elementary school, middle school, and trickling into the high school, is that they're involved in a world that a lot of us aren't necessarily familiar with or haven't been investigating for a long time.
And they're targeting children as young as elementary school age?
Yes, sir.
Both Dickerson and Cooter believe that the Antioch High School shooter Solomon Henderson was sucked into this world, a world where bad actors entice kids on platforms like Roblox into seeing themselves through the eyes of some of the nation's most notorious mass shooters.
We have some indications that some of this may actually be coming from adults, potentially in other countries. But once this process starts, the way these children are groomed into these spaces, they're really tricked into seeking clout or status.
The goal is to befriend children and get information that they can then use against them.
And they're trying to find someone who is willing to talk with them, give them information necessarily about where they live, maybe where they go to school, information about their parents or guardian.
Some may even try to get kids to cut themselves on camera or even potentially expose themselves. The children think they're just being mischievous or daring. And so it goes from getting the child on a hook, essentially.
Yes, that's one way to think about it.
To then ratcheting up.
Yes, absolutely.
The ultimate goal, Dr. Cooter says, is to get material that can later be used to blackmail the child.
The blackmail process is really awful. And because we're dealing with very young children, often between 12 and 17 years old, but some we've seen as young as 8, they're convinced pretty easily into following this pathway, into starting to do more and more harmful behaviors, to hide it from their parents, and in some really extreme cases, to start to hurt other people, to start specifically planning school shootings, for example.
In some cases, the perpetrators may have pizzas delivered to the child's home or make a swatting call that sends police rushing to the house.
And the parents are like, oh, I don't know how that could happen. I don't know where that came from. And now the kid may be scared.
That's a way for these groups to send a message to the kid, we can get to you.
Yes, sir.
In a case at a Nashville charter school last year, the group hacked into the school's email system and sent out an email blast to families identifying one particular child as being part of their network. Amy Cooter helped the school investigate that incident.
Ostensible reason was to embarrass this person and make it known that they were part of 764. But in my experience, the more likely reason was to push them over the edge into actually committing a school shooting.
Wow, I had not even thought of that motive.
That it was more a message of, hey, it's time to move to action.
And once we started to investigate that at that specific school, we saw that there was more than one kid that was involved.
Police also uncovered a drawing from the child's digital trail that described a radicalization process that starts with the child cutting himself, potentially ending with him killing himself.
They want to work these kids up to that ultimate level. Any point in there that they don't comply, let's say, remember what happened last time, we swatted your house, it's going to get worse.
I've encountered so many parents and teachers who understandably want to think it would never happen to my kid or to my school, but it's just not true. This is so pervasive online that every parent, every caretaker needs to know what this is and know some symptoms to watch out for.
That is so important. Here are some of the signs that the FBI and other experts suggest watching. Number one, look for sudden behavior changes in your child or changes in appearance, such as hiding specific body parts, covering his or her arms, for example. Other signs, engaging in acts of animal cruelty or harming younger siblings. That could be part of that progression process. Also, talking about death or cutting themselves, and any unexplained delivery suddenly showing up at your home is another big warning sign. Now, other good advice, monitor your child's online activities, especially communications with anyone they may meet online. That's important. Be careful about what you post online about your child. Do not give out public information that could be then used against your child, and talk to your children about the risk of them sharing personal information, images, and videos online. We've got this and a lot more at newschannel5.com. Gary?
Phil, it's so good and such a wake-up call for parents. Thank you. If your family has been targeted by these online extremists and you might want to share your story with Phil, you can capture that QR code that's on the screen right now and send him an email.